In the year 394, Murong Chui destroyed the Western Yan regime, marking the peak of Later Yan's national power and military strength. However, by this time, Murong Chui was gravely ill and reluctant to engage in warfare. Later, under the persuasion of Murong Bao and others, Murong Chui decided to use military force to conquer Northern Wei. Seizing the opportunity, he appointed Crown Prince Murong Bao as the commander, hoping to secure victories that would bolster Murong Bao's reputation and strengthen his future position as ruler. However, things did not go as planned. Murong Bao suffered a devastating defeat at Sana Slope, where Emperor Tuoba Gui of Northern Wei personally led an elite cavalry assault. The battle resulted in heavy casualties and became the most catastrophic disaster for the Yan state since Murong Chui's efforts to restore the Murong Yan Dynasty. Murong Bao fled back to Zhongshan and described the devastating defeat to his father, pleading earnestly for another campaign against Northern Wei. Murong Chui's younger brother, Murong De, added, Tuoba Gui happened to achieve this victory, and now he holds the crown prince in contempt. If we do not subdue them with your majesty's divine military prowess, the Yan state will face endless troubles in the future. The crown prince's incompetence was a constant worry that haunted the aging warlord Murong Chui. Driven by his sense of duty, he resolved to personally lead a campaign to secure the survival and future of the Yan state. Murong Chui ordered his son, Murong Long, and his grandson, Murong Xing, to mobilize elite troops from the former capital, Longqing, and join him at Zhongshan. They planned a large-scale western expedition the following year, 396, to attack northern Wei. In the year 396, the elite cavalry from Longqing, the birthplace of the Xianbei Murong dynasty, marched from distant Liaodong to Zhongshan. Their arrival, with a force both powerful and well-organized, revitalized the morale of the Yan state. In March, Murong Chui personally led the Yan army and secretly departed from Zhongshan. This time, the Yan forces avoided the usual routes to Northern Wei. Instead, Murong Chui directed his troops to first head northeast in the opposite direction. Then, they turned westward, crossing Qingling, passing through Tianmen, carving a path through the Taihang Mountains, and advancing through Yunzhong. This unexpected maneuver brought them straight to Pingqing, a key military stronghold under Northern Wei's control. The renowned Northern Wei general Tuoba Qian, the younger brother of Tuoba Gui, was stationed in Pingqing with 30,000 troops. Murong Chui dispatched Murong Nong and Murong Long to lead the elite soldiers from Longqing as the vanguard in a lightning assault on Pingqing. Caught off guard and unprepared, Tuoba Qian was stunned when the Yan army appeared suddenly, seemingly descending from the heavens. In his shock, he hastily led his troops into battle. The elite Longqing soldiers, composed of Murong Chui's most battle-hardened Xianbei forces, fought with extraordinary valor, charging like fierce tigers down a mountain. The Wei army was unable to withstand the assault. Tuoba Qian was killed in action, and the remnants of his forces were entirely absorbed by Later Yan. The fall of the key military stronghold Pingqing and the death of Northern Wei's most esteemed war hero, Tuoba Qian, sent shockwaves through the Wei ranks. The reappearance of Murong Chui, the undefeated war god of the 16 Kingdoms period, on the battlefield left Tuoba Gui utterly stunned and at a loss for what to do. Some of his generals, along with their tribes, rebelled and deserted him. Faced with this dire situation, Tuoba Gui considered abandoning the capital, Xingla, and fleeing westward to the Yin Mountains of the northern desert to escape the relentless assault of Murong Chui's elite Longqing cavalry. After capturing the strategic military stronghold of Pingqing and absorbing over 30,000 Northern Wei troops as prisoners, Murong Chui dispatched Murong Bao and others to advance toward Xingla, the Wei capital, to continue suppressing Tuoba Gui's remaining forces. As the Yan army pressed forward, Murong Chui arrived at Sana Slope, the site of a past battlefield. The battlefield was still littered with mountains of the corpses of Yan soldiers who had perished the previous year. Murong Chui ordered the advancing troops to halt and arranged a solemn altar. Personally presiding over the ceremony, he led his soldiers in paying tribute to the fallen. The fathers and brothers of the deceased wailed loudly, their cries echoing through the valleys. The sight deeply moved the white-haired Murong Chui, undefeated throughout his life until now. Overwhelmed with shame and anger, he was consumed by grief, which caused him to cough up blood continuously. After staying in Pingqing for more than 10 days, Murong Chui hurriedly began his journey back to his homeland. However, he passed away on the way, at the age of 70. Later, Tuoba Gui received the news of Murong Chui's death and the complete withdrawal of Murong Bao and the Yan army. Overjoyed, he felt fortunate, believing that divine intervention had helped him escape disaster under the hands of the war god Murong Chui. However, he did not dare to pursue recklessly and instead led his troops back to the Yim Mountains. Murong Chui was the greatest warlord of the 16 Kingdoms period and one of the few military commanders and emperors in Chinese history who adhered to Confucian moral principles throughout his life. As a member of the Xianbei, a minority ethnic group, this quality makes his legacy all the more remarkable. Murong Chui's life was full of legendary achievements. He was born into a Xianbei noble family that revered Confucian culture. From a young age, he was trained in traditional military combat skills such as horseback riding and weaponry within the tribe. At home, he received a Confucian education from Han scholars who had fled to Liaodong to escape the chaos of war in the Central Plains. Murong Chui was known for his bravery and exceptional combat skills, surpassing others in courage. At the age of 13, he accompanied his father on military campaigns. By 16, he was leading troops in battle, achieving numerous military successes. Murong Chui's life was marked by a series of invincible and grand battles on the battlefield. However, his life was also filled with love, family, friendship, betrayal by his own people, misunderstandings with his allies, enduring humiliation, and carrying heavy burdens. His life was both tumultuous and tragic. Regardless of the challenges he faced, Murong Chui remained steadfast in following Confucian moral principles throughout his life, never wavering from them. Murong Chui was the fifth son of Murong Hui, the founding emperor of the former Yan Dynasty. Although he was not the crown prince, he was deeply favored by his father due to his military talent and wisdom, even more so than his older brother, Murong Jun, the heir apparent. This favoritism made Murong Jun extremely jealous of Murong Chui. However, Murong Chui did not mind his brother's attitude and devoted himself entirely to expanding the territory of the Xianbei Murong dynasty, leading campaigns in the Central Plains and achieving great military successes. Despite his accomplishments, Murong Chui was never fully trusted or given significant responsibilities by the Yan court and was often marginalized. Even his beloved wife, Duan, was falsely accused by the empress, imprisoned, and subjected to harsh torture, which ultimately led to her death. Despite the persecution he faced from the Yan court, when the Grand General of Eastern Jin, Huan Wen, launched his third northern expedition and advanced deep into Yan territory, threatening the capital, Yi City, Emperor Murong Wei and the regent Murong Ping attempted to abandon the city and flee. Murong Chui put aside past grievances and stepped forward, leading the Yan army to defeat Huan Wen's forces. This victory saved the Yan dynasty and earned Murong Chui fame across the land. However, Murong Chui's great military achievements only fueled greater fear in Murong Wei, Murong Ping, and others. They were afraid that Murong Chui's growing prestige might pose a threat to their imperial power, and they secretly plotted to eliminate him. Fortunately, Murong Chui's nephew, Murong Chui, learned of this conspiracy and informed Murong Chui, advising him to take the initiative and eliminate Murong Ping and the others to avert the crisis. However, Murong Chui, unwilling to cause internal strife within the Murong dynasty, refused. He chose to give up his position and power in the court and flee abroad. At all times and under any circumstances, Murong Chui remained loyal to the Murong dynasty, placing the interests of the royal family and the state above his personal gain. This was the moral principle that guided Murong Chui's actions. Murong Chui arrived in the Qin state, where he was warmly received by Emperor Fujian. Through their shared Confucian cultural upbringing, the two noble elites from different ethnic minorities developed a deep mutual respect and formed a bond of life and death. However, when the Prime Minister of Qin, Wang Meng, mistakenly believed that Murong Chui's noble birth, military talent, and great ambition posed a future threat to the stability of the Qin state, he devised the golden knife strategy to falsely accuse Murong Chui of rebellion. Despite this, Murong Chui continued to enjoy Fujian's trust, and no punishment was inflicted upon him. On the contrary, after surviving this trial, Murong Chui grew even more grateful to Fujian. Later, after Fu Jian's defeat at the Battle of Feishui, he led a group of over 1,000 cavalry directly to meet Murong Chui. At that time, only Murong Chui's 30,000 soldiers remained unharmed in the war. Murong Chui's trusted advisors suggested that, with the defeat of the former Qin and the impending chaos in the north, Murong Chui should kill Fu Jian to restore the Yan state. However, Murong Chui rebuked this idea and refused. He emphasized that Fu Jian had taken him in during a difficult time, and he could never repay kindness with betrayal. Instead, Murong Chui entrusted all the troops under his command to Fu Jian and escorted him back to Luoyang. No matter the circumstances, Murong Chui would never forsake loyalty for personal gain. This was the moral principle that guided his actions. Murong Chui's first wife, Duan, was the daughter of Duan Mobo, the leader of the Duan tribe of the Xianbei. She was the love of his life. Due to her noble status, Duan became the target of jealousy from Empress Fu, who, along with Yan King Murong Jun, falsely accused her of practicing witchcraft. Duan was imprisoned, subjected to brutal torture, and ultimately died. This event deeply devastated Murong Chui, leaving a sorrow that haunted him for the rest of his life. He poured all the love he had for Duan into their only surviving son, Murong Bao. Murong Chui deeply understood that Murong Bao lacked the talent and insight to govern a great dynasty, making it difficult for him to rule effectively. Even at nearly 70 years old, Murong Chui did not cease his campaigns, continuing to expand the territory and strike against neighboring powers that refused to submit. He hoped that, in the future, Murong Bao would be able to easily secure his position as emperor. However, the defeat of the Yan army at the Battle of Sanha Slope left Murong Chui disillusioned with Murong Bao's future and deeply despairing about the future of the Yan dynasty, is a Chinese idiom, meaning that while planning and striving for success depends on human effort and initiative, whether the goal is achieved ultimately depends on circumstances or luck, the influence of objective conditions, and it cannot be forced. Murong Chui adhered to Confucian moral principles throughout his life, making him a unique military commander and emperor in Chinese history. His life was marked by integrity and openness, and he remains a moral role model for future rulers and the common people.